And we are back today. We're looking at Shamar James, linebacker from Florida. Now, if there was any pick that I was a little bit critical on, it would be this pick of Shamar James from Florida. And when you watch Shamar James, you see a player that lines up all over the place. He lines up in the mic. He got a whole bunch of jobs, and he'll run sideline to sideline, all this kind of stuff. And you will see that be to his detriment. You see him get lost sometimes. And then we drafted him, and we got more information. And the Cowboys basically want to use him in a certain set of rules and responsibilities. Okay, so I went back over his film and I pulled some highlights from some of those rules and responsibilities, and I just kind of want to go over them with y'all today. All right. This is who Shamar James really is. He's a run everywhere guy, but in Cowboy context, what I think the Cowboys want to do, I say think because I've heard things. I think they want to take a lot of responsibility out of his hands, and they just kind of want him to attack freely without thinking too much. And that'll be kind of like this play here. You take a look at him. Hey, don't worry about all that right there. Just kind of come down, fill a gap, and if there's a ball carrier in your gap, go deal with that player there. I think when he has to do a bunch of processing and thinking, and maybe that motion will mix him up a little bit, I think that that could be a problem. But if he comes down, if he comes downhill, plays aggressively, I think he gets wins in this way. I'll show you another example. Kind of here, right? I'll run the play now. I'll come back and talk about it. You're kind of going to see him dropping back in coverage a little bit, but he's in zone, right? And you can tell he's just looking at the quarterback here. This isn't quarterback spy necessarily, right? But this job is a very limited job, which is, hey, I'm just kind of going to float around a little bit. But if the quarterback goes, I'm going to go with him. And that's exactly what happened right here. And look, you could call this good instincts here, but I think it's a good display of instincts. He ain't got a whole bunch of stuff to be worried about. You either worried about the coverage that's going on behind you or the quarterback that's going on in front of you. And if it's his job to be athletic and run around and hit stuff, I think he'll be good to go. I'll show you another example. Take a look at this here. He's about to get downhill, and I wanted to show y'all this play, and it's going to go along with some of the plays that I show you later. He doesn't always deal with blocks and linemen really well. If you take a look at him, he's not the biggest guy in the world, but I think he's going to play a lot more will linebacker. I think he's going to be free a lot. But when he's working sideways in some of these run exchanges, he does have the ability to kind of swirl and dip and twirl around some of these blocks here. Now, if let's just say he's at Mike or at Sam, he's taking a lot of these blocks on head on, and they kicking his ass because he's not all that big, right? But if he has the ability to kind of work more sideways from the will spot like he's doing now, he gets, just different angles and different ability to move on those angles. I got more. I actually think as long as he ain't got a whole bunch of stuff to worry about, he's cool running around in space. I think he's a fine cover guy. It just depends on how much he has to worry about at once. And as you can see him, look at his eyes. Quarterback first. Okay, this is what we're doing. We're passing for real. Let me turn around and run around. That's what he does. I know he has some weird looking athletic scores. I know his RAS scores aren't the best, but I never scouted with RAS scores or whatever. But he seems to have a good feel in the passing game. I'll show you another example. We're going to get a little bit of a slow screen to the left. That's the tight end right there, number 15. Let's see. Yeah, the tight end is going to leak out to the left slowly. And, hey, man, Shamar is going to feel that. I think he sees it and feels it pretty well. Shamar is a weird character, man. Sometimes he can't sniff out nothing, but other times he's right on top of it. But I think this is more of a result of a one-go passing play. This ain't like a passing play with a whole bunch of reads going on. This is simply slow tight end screen. And if he sees it, he gets on it. Just like this play here, if he kind of sees it, okay, I'm going to let this run, then I'm going to come back and talk about it. We're versus Miami here. If he sees the bubble, he's just going to go get it, right? And his success is largely dependent on if he can seize it. But this is when he's off the football, right? If he's at the mic and he got to do all the processing, I think it's going to be a whole different challenge. But off the ball, he just get to run around. I think the Cowboys are going to keep him in situations just like this. But these next set of plays, I think this is really what the Cowboys have a vision for. We got Shamar James right here. He's going to point up, and he just going to go. I think the Cowboys love Shamar James in this role right here. He ain't got a whole bunch of sacks like this. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think Overshown had a whole bunch of sacks like this. But Overshown did develop into a blitzing linebacker type, right? He has the ability to kind of close ground quickly. And what was this like? Let me see. What he trying to get 10 free right here? Yeah, he trying to get 10 a little free right here, and that's all right. But just downhill running. I think this is what the Cowboys really have a vision for. Take a look at him here. Now you notice they line him up all over the place. He's a little more far off right now, and they're still gonna bring him as a blitzer. And I know this may not count as a pressure for him, but I'm just giving you an example of what the Cowboys have for him. If you go on the internet and find Florida versus LSU, I believe he had 2 sacks in that game, but I know the YouTube Illuminati is not gonna let me get off with showing y'all that play there. Take a look at him here. You remember when he was navigating the guard when he was coming downhill? He's kind of doing that same thing right now with this running back stepping up there. Just that quick lateral movement, that little sideways twitchy stuff, but the burst and the closing of the speed and the downhill stuff. When I was watching James, this play would only happen ever so often. But now that he's a Cowboy, you know, you kind of got to highlight this stuff and watch it closely or whatever, right? But this downhill play, this blitzing play would happen sometimes, but not a whole bunch. But when I grade all 50-some of his reps, I didn't like Shamar James, right? But if the Cowboys are going to limit him to this kind of stuff right here, take a look at him dipping up under this offensive lineman, stepping over to block him right here. Dip up under there. That's some good pass rushing instincts right there. If this is going to be his job, if this is what life is going to be like for him, another one downhill, bam, thumping, makes the play in the run game there. If this is what his life is going to be, I can get behind this a little bit. Now, I didn't see this vision for him at first because I was just evaluating him as a regular linebacker, but then there's this other advantage, this idea that the Cowboys have a linebacker whisperer in Coach Eberflus, right? And we had this conversation about corners and offensive linemen. Hey, we got Al Harris and Duke Manyweather here, so you could draft a old lineman with some traits and send them to Duke. You can find you a cornerback with some traits. You can send them to Al Harris, and they'll figure it all out. If Eberflus is a linebacker whisperer, then I would imagine why they were so excited is because Shamar James does have interesting ability in terms of getting downhill and just running and pursuing. Maybe they'll send him to Eberflus and get all of the technical stuff worked out, and maybe in a couple of years or so, you'll have a pretty interesting linebacker candidate in Shamar James. And look, we traded up to go get him. We gave away a 6th or a 7th, I believe, like a 6th. We traded up to go get him. The Cowboys really wanted him, but at the end of the day, this was a day 3 pick. I would have picked something different at the end of the day. I'm gonna remain honest about that. But hey, the Cowboys like it. I love it. The rest of their draft was so good. We'll let them boys get away with some that I don't disagree with in the 5th round. So it is what it is. Hey, I love y'all to pieces, man. I appreciate y'all. I got some more film coming. Y'all stay tuned. Hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to get to 100. We almost there. Love y'all to pieces. Salute.